So there are a lot of people in our community, a lot of people who listen to this podcast, I know, who are young people who are thinking about doing their own thing at some point, right? I want to either want to be a one-man shop, or I want to build an integrator or a solutions provider. So any suggestions? So you've done this in the 20 months. You've owned businesses for a really long time, but this venture of yours has been we'll just say it's been 20 months, and now your biggest problem is scale. The problem isn't viability. The problem isn't, having clients. It doesn't have right. The issue is scale. Any recommendations to people who are looking to do the same step or take the same step you did?
Where do I start? I do recognize or think of us as kind of a 20-year startup. We're kind of starting over. And that's a tough question, because there are so many different places. Well, I'll take it back even further, because I end up talking with people like, my nephew and other people that are earlier in their careers, or they're in school still. And one of the things that I found, you may agree or disagree, and that's an interesting topic in and of itself, is find an area and become expert in that technical area. And once you work out that technical expertise and advance in your career a little bit with that technical expertise, then you can always lean on that in one regard or another, as opposed to walking in and going to school for communications and then becoming a generalist in everything, and you never really focus. It's hard to really drive a career at that point. And you can pivot multiple times in your career, but you'll always be able to go back to that original expertise.
By the way, I agree with you 1,000%. I say that you need to be fluent in all layers of the stack, but I'd never say you have to be an expert, but you do need to be an expert in something. And what for me in my career, people do ask me this question, there were 3 things I realized I was an expert at. Number 1, my learning curve super short. It takes me 3 hours to learn what I think it takes most people 30 hours or maybe 30 days to learn. Yeah. Number 2, troubleshooting. I've always been an elite level troubleshooter. I can find the problem faster than most other people. When it came to a technical skill, it was supervisor control and data acquisition. I could acquire the data, I could model the data, and I could control the process in very, very short time. And I became a master at building supervisor control and data acquisition, but I did it at scale. That was what my real expertise was I could build, instead of area SCADA systems, I was building campus-wide SCADA systems using ISA 101. And so, but then from there, I went and focused on fluency. Beyond that, it was all, okay, now let's start learning everything. So I agree with you 1,000% on that piece.
Yeah. Cheryl, to your comment, no, we're not going to use Hank as the go-to-market name for this product.
By the way, I like the Hank name, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh boy. Well, right. A couple of thoughts to answer your question. One of them is when you're connecting with have your message down really clearly as to what you are or who you are and what you do. Work on that 30-second commercial. Really understand it, be able to just zip it out there. We're a manufacturing intelligence solutions company, and we work with manufacturers to help them solve problems around downtime, production, and quality issues. And typically we're working with people in the in the operations department with a company to solve those problems. Is there anything there that sounds familiar to you want to talk about? Like, just nail it and know it. And stick to that expertise, stick to that capability. That's one of the first things. If you can communicate clearly and effectively and not take 5 minutes to explain to your prospect what you do, you'll have their attention. The second one is, there's so many things, but these are things that I see a lot of people really miss. The second one is ask questions. You have 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in that proportion.
The Socratic method. The Socratic method is the path. It's the path to enlightenment. Even when you're talking with clients, it's the path to enlightenment.
It's at that point, what you do, what are your challenges? Tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more. Oh, well then, okay, now that I understand what your challenges are, and we've almost gotten to 5 whys in that process. Well, here's what we do, and here, does this make sense? Does this fit? And then you go from there.